Hey everyone, TimaeuSS. Welcome to another NIKKE video. So I actually wanted to release this video a long time ago when Pride1 released the blog regarding the tier list freeze. However, I just didn't really have the time as I've been traveling, but better late than never, right? So let's talk about the issues that causing the tier list freeze. If you didn't know, the Pride1 team decided to freeze the tier list because of the ongoing bugs, and worry not, I'll also go over a CN tier list that essentially goes over what is really good at the moment in the bugged version, because for some of you probably venture on Reddit and you've seen a lot of the major bugs that were discussed. So to quickly I guess provide an overview, right now every single character have their burst skill bugged. It doesn't matter if you upgrade it, it will apply the effect of the level 1 burst. The only thing that it changes is the power level of your unit, which will help you clear because of the power level debuff, but it actually doesn't change any of the values of the burst effect, even if you upgrade it. So that's one of the major bugs. The second, of course, we know, and I've talked about it before, is the charge bug. So every weapon that has charge capabilities, such as rocket launcher and sniper, if you hold the charge, it will apply to your skills as well as your burst, effectively doing 250% more damage in that regard. So there are a lot of bugs, and I'll have a link in the description. It's essentially on the tier list website for Pride1. There are things that just makes units better or worse, and our tier list essentially was made when we tested the server and assumed that things are not bugged, right? That's what the assumption was, and you can see here how many units are bugged, quote unquote bugged. Of course, we don't know if it's intended mechanics or if it's true bug until the developers come out and say something about it, but just keep in mind bugged characters have this purple bug, and they might not be working as intended. So the tier list has been frozen in the sense that we're not going to make any changes because, for example, the taunt from Ludmilla is not working, Dr. Pepper, his heal is not working properly, and stuff like that. So it's on hold for now. We'll update it as soon as the bug fixes go out. Again, you can have a read, but let's talk about how the CN players have reacted. So this is a tier list from one of the content creators on CN. Someone linked me as well. He essentially made a tier list that was based on the quote-unquote bugged version, okay? And it also includes the damage formula, which I'll probably make a separate video of how some units are just better because of the power, the damage formula. But looking at the CN tier list, and right off the bat, you can see that there's a unit, SR unit in the tier 1 section for burst 1, and so this is organized by burst again, burst 1, burst 2, and burst 3. Okay, so here we have N102, and N102 is at this position because of her attack buff. If you didn't know, attack value is much better than any crit or crit damage, and that's why N102 is at the top right here. I'll make a separate video on the power, on the damage calculation, so you can better understand that. Okay, and Ludmilla is tier 3 over there because, again, it's bugged. She is bugged. So standing at the top, of course, we still have Litter at the very top, and Rapunzel as a super strong healer because the Dr. Pepper is not working, and the volume at tier 1 because the volume provides fewer attack buffs or none at all. I can't remember off the top of my head compared to a unit support like Litter. And this is interesting because for burst 2 there's a new contender, right? So we've got Uni's tier 0, Dola is tier 0. Dola is undisputed, but Uni I think is more of a tier 1, but she's put this person's put Uni at tier 0. But what's interesting is Rupee. So why is Rupee tier 0? So there's a bug with Rupee. I think we mentioned it here, right? No, yeah, here. She makes non-stackable buffs permanent. Okay, this is insane because I believe her skill extends the buff. Actually, why don't we take a look? Because I remember reading about it and I was like, okay, that is a hell of a bug. So let's take a look. So she has a skill that let's see, yeah, increases the stack count of buff by 1. Okay, so if you're using this with buffs that stacks, that's perfectly fine. right? It will just increase the stack by 1. However, if you're using it with units that have the buffs and they're not stackable, because of how I guess how the bug works, it's essentially it makes that buff permanent, which is insane. Because I mean, you guys know as well, but skills, they have cooldowns, right? And buffs, they have duration. But with Rupee, it essentially the buff becomes permanent, because it's adding a stack to a non-stackable buff. So kind of nuts in that regard. Kind of nuts, and that's why she is tier 0 in burst 2. Everyone else, I think it's fairly straightforward. And then for the tier 0 for burst 3 for damage dealers, we have the tier 0 Heron just above Scarlet, of course, because of the charge bug, where you can hold the sniper rifle of Heron for 250% damage across all skills and burst. And yeah, it's absolutely nuts. But let's see what they have to say. Oh, here we go. They talked about why Uni is tier 0. Because of a bug under manual conditions, your team can have infinite ammo. Alright, so I showed this in the God Comp Scarlet team video. When you switch to Uni manually, and the buff of the ammo wears off, it instantly refills. So Scarlet basically goes ham and gets a fully reloaded ammo clip. So anyhow, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, because I think most of them are bugs and should be fixed in the coming days. I know that a lot of people are not happy, and there are other bugs as well, not limited to buffing and nerfing characters, but rather other bugs regarding the game. So hopefully tomorrow, Thursday, is patch day, and we'll get a lot of them addressed, because that'll be nice, since right now the tier lists are all over the place because of how the bugs affect some of the characters and replacement. So we'll have to see. But anyhow, that's TimaeuSS, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.